I'm Ben and I play bass.
I'm Will, I'm the drummer in the band, and I hit things.
I'm Sam, I am Will's brother, and I play one of the guitars.
I'm Joe, and I play the other guitar in the band.
I'm Chris, and I sing and play a quarter of a guitar in the band.
So how did you guys all meet?
Well, we met in my house, me and Will, because my mum gave birth to him 3.5 years after. And that actually is, interestingly enough, I met Joe about 9 months after I met Will, because we've been at school together since we were 4.
But we just didn't really talk to each other much until we were about
16.
basically we're at the same school together until like from the age of 4 till we were 18, and we didn't start talking to each other until we were about 16. So that's quite funny. But yeah, I mean, all of us met at school really, apart from Ben, who I met at university in Leeds.
So where do your guys' ideas for songs come from?
I think it kind of depends a little bit. Like when we started writing songs as a band, it was very much just sort of, we do it all in the rehearsals together, and sort of we just try and accomplish something and get a song that was sort of finished. And then maybe gradually more and more got bought by different people to the band that maybe were sometimes more personal, sometimes not necessarily completely personal, and then everyone would add their bits and sort of finish them off. I mean, what would any of you guys add to that?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think everyone kind of gave their own input into all the songs, which was quite nice, because a lot of the times bands it's usually one person writing, but for us it was really the case of coming to a rehearsal with an idea and then everyone kind of giving their input, which was really nice to have.
Yeah, I don't really understand how bands just have one guy who writes the songs or person who writes the songs. I just find that, I don't know, because for us it's like we all have our own opinions and our own interests, and like there's not sort of some submissiveness to like some great deity in the band that like comes up like with other bands. That's probably the case, I think, more so, or either the front man just lies about it. But yeah,
I think the big thing was using the studio in Leeds, which kind of made the songs more of a reality. And I think, yeah, this EP was all basically produced there and in Joe's bedroom. And so it was quite good to, I guess, translate ideas that had just been worked out in bedrooms and things on guitars acoustically, and then really kind of lay the track down and then produce what we've got at the moment.
A lot of the ideas came from being in the studio, and because we all kind of, when recording, we all recorded our own parts kind of at different times. We weren't all in the same room at once recording, so it gave us a lot of time whilst we were there thinking, oh, okay, why don't you play something like this, or why don't we sing this rather than this? So it was quite a lot of creativity to at the early stages of recording. It's not like we had the songs completely finished when we got into the studio, which was quite fun to do, actually.
Yeah, some were almost completely. So if you take the last track, Shots Are Coming, that was sort of, all the sections were sort of there. So we made demos about this time last year on Joe's computer, and Will, for example, had a vague idea of what he kind of might play at certain bits, but then it was really very much someone came to Leeds, there'd be like a little bit more of the track filled out instrumentally, even though the overarching sort of structure was there. So that's in some ways probably a prime example of that process in Leeds.
Yeah, when I did the vocals for that, I remember it just being guitar.
Yeah,
it was just guitar and there was nothing else.
Well, Shots Are Coming.
Yeah. But obviously the structure was there, as Sam was saying. But when I did the vocals, it was just guitar.
Yeah, it was.
Who were your influences growing up? What was the sort of like music that you really grew up listening to?
Beatles, Beach Boys, the first two that come to mind from when I was very small.
As
Yeah.
oh, go on, you go, Joe. You go.
Yeah, I feel like I was just brought up with the stuff that my mum listened to, really. So a lot of 80s stuff, like Depeche Mode and like new romantic music. But I don't know, for the band stuff we do, it was a lot of stuff like Beatles, Beach Boys, Rolling Stones. I think a lot of the musical ideas came from, which is quite, yeah. But yeah, what were you going to say, Will?
I was just going to say, for like drumming influences, I've kind of looked quite a lot at Matt Helders from Arctic Monkeys. And then, I mean, everyone pretty much says John Bonham as well, because he's just a legend. But yeah, I think Matt Helders is probably like the main guy for me.
What about you, Ben?
Just anything. Like, I'm the same as Joe. Mine's just kind of stuff that my mum and dad were listening to, like that they just used to play on the CD player or whatever. So it's just mainly everything from like that was around in the 90s and the 60s.
Your mum was a bit into kind of like acid house, wasn't she?
Yeah, she loves that, and she also loves she's a massive AC/DC fan. So I used to listen to that like loads when I was like 2 years old and just bouncing around the room. It was wicked.
Was there a certain person that kind of like influenced you to pick up an instrument and like basically want to be in a band?
Maybe for me, and so like Joe and Ben have been playing, and Will have been playing all their instruments since they were really small, whereas me and Chris sort of started learning together when we were about 16. So I don't know, Chris, what do you think? Maybe for us it was just getting into kinds of music, like kind of more modern indie bands, like, I don't know, like Foals, Arctic Monkeys, Kooks, Two Door Cinema Club, at that kind of age that actually made us bother to learn the instruments. What do you reckon?
I honestly can't put it down to a reason, because we were, I don't know, I've always been listening to like that stuff when I was like 11. I don't know what happened when I turned 16 for it to, maybe it was just because I was hormonal and emotional. It was probably the reason. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that was kind of the thing that kind of started getting us three talking to each other more as well. Because I remember walking past like a practice room at school and you guys would be in there playing guitar, and then that's what kind of started us kind of getting to know each other more. So it was the music that brought us all together.
Yeah. What made you start, Joe, actually, when you were like 10 or whatever?
You know what? It was actually Adam Monroe.
Oh, your sister's ex-boyfriend.
It was my sister's ex-boyfriend. He came over and he used to be quite a good, decent singer, and played a bit of guitar. So we came in and played guitar and sung one night, and I thought that was cool. So I'll have a go on it. And then, and then I just got a really good teacher, and I kind of got hooked on music, really. So that was it. I just love it. And it's just a lot more fun. And I feel like I was in other bands before at school, but they weren't proper bands. And just, I think kind of when you start playing with a group of people, it does just make music so much more fun.
Do you have a favourite gig that you've done so far, or one that really stands out?
There's definitely one for me. It was when we played The Spice of Life at Soho. That was really cool because the stage was just part of the crowd, and then we had loads of our mates and some other people as well kind of coming along to watch us, and it was in Easter, and the atmosphere for Budapest Sex Lights was just mental. Just seeing people kind of, they didn't really know the song that well, but they just kind of, I guess, like the riff and like the feel of the beat, and just kind of got dancing, went a bit crazy, which is, I guess, what you want is starting out band.
I really enjoyed the Oxford one as well.
Yeah, I was about to say that was the
crazy.
first one you did with us, and it was really
yeah.
amazing.
Everyone was like, that was a similar thing. Like the crowd were like on you, and there was like, it wasn't like it was packed out. It was quite a small venue, so the atmosphere was just so good.
So can you tell us a little bit about the EP, about the music? Obviously you've already explained a little bit about being in the studio about it.
I think our first two songs we had on Spotify were Ill Fitting and Stockholm. They were already out, and I think it was partly probably a natural progression to getting a couple of singles out to trying to put an EP out. And Joe had to produce some stuff for university, so he got studio time, and that kind of gave us the facilities to record an EP. So in some ways, I think it was probably having access to a studio and just sort of a natural progression for us, having already kind of got a couple songs out, got songs we played at gigs that were our own, to try and get them out. And yeah, I think that's probably why an EP came about.
I think we just wanted to kind of get people listening to our music. I think that's, like, at the end of the day, that was it. We brought out 2 songs, and yeah, I needed to record stuff anyway for my degree, but I like to we talked about kind of the ideas of how we should release stuff and if we should put stuff on Spotify and everything, but at the end of the day, we just thought the majority of the people that listen to our music at the moment use stuff like Spotify, and we just wanted people to hear the work that we've done because we were just really happy with it.
And then possibly as we sort of realised we were going to do that, then maybe more and more ideas sort of started to link together. So even if the songs sound, I mean, I'd like to think they sound overarchingly like the same band, but maybe there's a few different styles in there. I think as it turned out, lyrically and thematically, it maybe became a bit more of a sort of meaningful project than initially it set out to be. So maybe some personal, so there's a lot of stuff about kind of anxiety and fear of the future that ended up kind of probably being one of the more dominant themes, balanced against, like on the earlier tracks, sort of a bit more of a sort of typical adolescent energy or whatever. But I don't think we set out, I think that sort of came as we maybe realised we were going to produce an actual EP.
Can you describe your music in 3 words?
I'd say eclectic.
I don't say that, everyone says that.
Yeah, go for it, Ben.
Go for it, Ben.
It was fucking shit hot.
Okay, that's 3 words. I'll take that.
That is what it is.
I like that. Let's go for that.
I'd like people to think the same as well.
Yeah, if someone came up to me and said, "Mate, your music is fucking shit hot," I'd be buzzing.
For anyone that's never heard of your music before, what would you say they should expect to hear from it? And if they actually went to one of your gigs as well, what should they expect?
Fucking shit hot. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'd like to think people could tell that we like actually give a shit about what we're doing. So like that we like sort of having the opportunity to show what we've been creating, and kind of there's the energy there is something I think we'd hope people would enjoy.
Yeah, be lively. Like
we try and be as lively as possible, I think.
Yeah.
They tried to stop me, but yeah.
What do you mean we try and stop?
I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, but yeah, like Spice of Life in Oxford, that was the whole atmosphere, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think like our like interaction with our audience is always quite fun. We always try and kind of engage with audience as well.
Fun and just informal, I think, as well. Just kind of the audience are as much as, it's such a cliche and I hate it.
I mean, at the moment, our setup is literally we don't have any backing tracks or anything with our music. It's literally us, guitars, drums, voice, and that's it. And so it's quite stripped back.
Do you think makes your band stand out from others in the scene?
We write good music. I'm not gonna lie. We actually write catchy tunes, and we don't mess around with it.
Fair enough.
To be honest.
We give the fans what they want.
I think
We don't fuck about.
I think we do like write this song. I reckon maybe we balance, like, we're catchy, but I think we also have a bit of, like, each song has a bit of a point to make. It's maybe not always like a completely direct or obvious one. Some are more lighthearted, but there's still something there. Some are a bit like dark or whatever. But I think there's a good balance of like something you can take away as well as just in being enjoyable and catchy and energetic. And I think maybe we could do both, and maybe some other artists only kind of manage to scale one of those two things.
I think
Not saying
also
we're the people that do that, but I think we do that well.
the way the EP turned out in the end as well, I think there's the different styles that Sam spoke about earlier. There's a little bit for everyone, and whether that was intentional or not, it just kind of, I'm speaking to loads of different people. They've all got a different favourite song, including Ill Fitting in Stockholm as well, and so there's a bit that everyone can kind of dip into.
So you say where you're based at the moment. Do you feel there's enough help around for bands like yourself to be able to get out there and basically be a band and be able to put on a gig and record stuff?
I think there's enough opportunity to gig. I think there always, like, we've never had a struggle trying to find a spot or somewhere in London to perform. But everything else about being in a band, no, not really any help, really. It's just so competitive.
Like, no one gives a monkeys about you unless you've got like 250 gazillion followers, and I don't know. I think it's obviously a depressing fact that you just sort of have to do your best to try and, you know, just crack on with it and see where you can get to, I think. But overarchingly, I'd say no. I don't think there is much good support.
Yeah, like the amount of emails you send and don't get replied to is crazy.
Yeah. You need. Yeah, it's just.
What makes me laugh about it is that I genuinely think that the people in our band are like better than a vast majority of people who are already successful and famous, in my humble opinion. And if they were given that platform, they'd be 10 times better than other people, especially our age, who are successful.
It's about being in the right place at the right time and just having someone there willing to throw a lot of funding at you. And and unfortunately, I feel like that is what the music industry is today. So if you don't have that person throwing that money at you, it's very difficult. I think people have probably done it in the past, but it's a lot more unlikely.
They've kind of made it by just paying for Facebook ads, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it's happened. And there's loads of like if you've got the money, you can it doesn't really matter how good you are, which is kind of annoying.
It's a little bit difficult to answer this one, admit, because of the strange time that we're in at the moment. But what are your plans for the rest of this year?
We've got like another 4 or 5 songs that are pretty much done from that same like set in Leeds, and so we're likely to release another EP some point in the not too distant future, whilst working on lots of newer stuff as well. I think probably our plans for 2020, because that doesn't rely on coronavirus really. I mean, as long as we can go to each other's houses or whatever, because we can do a lot from Joe's house. So.
For a new EP, I think it would be, in an ideal world, it'd be quite nice to do like a gig launch or something like that. But again, you know, who knows what's going to happen? So it may be, you know, or something.
We really wanted to do some sort of EP launch event for this last lot of music that we got out, but I don't know. Then now all the restrictions are coming back, so it's difficult. But hopefully, in
No,
the not too distant future, we'll be able to have some sort of celebration for the music we've just released, and possibly the music we hope to release soon as well.
but let's be real though. On music that we are going to release, the new stuff that hasn't been released yet is like insanely catchy. There was that one, the one that you and Sam showed me, which was just ridiculously catchy. Like I've been playing it.
Yeah.
I like it's just ridiculous.
I think we're excited about what we've got to come release wise. I think.
I feel like we're all very excited just to get the music out for people to hear it. So yeah, in the future, more music and hopefully gigs.
Yeah.
Like, this EP though is the surface of what we have and what we can do.
Again, I know this is a bit of a difficult question at the minute, but have you got any gigs lined up?
A call from a guy today, actually. I haven't told you guys about.
Big reveal.
Said he's got a few slots, so possibly we might have some coming out, but we don't.
Nice.
but we're gonna have to sing with masks on.
Yeah, and the audience might not be as energetic because everyone might have to have 2 meter distance. But yeah, hard at the moment to get anything. Like, because you don't know, even if you had some date booked in, like we might book in something with this person, and then when the time comes, if we're all still, if the restrictions are still as they are, it probably won't be able to happen.
We had like quite a few planned over summer, didn't we? That just got cancelled.
Yeah.
We had so much. Like we just planned to do so much this summer, and we couldn't do any.
Obviously, you spoke about it a bit already, but how difficult have you found making music and trying to keep the connection between you and the fans during this strange time?
Started getting online and trying to get more of an online presence because we felt that was lacking. Basically until lockdown, and so we did one paid ad which went down quite well, did a lyric video. That's been like the main way so far.
At the end of the day, none of us are very good at maintaining online presence, so which is that's probably our main struggle over lockdown.
We need to pull our fingers out a bit. It's all very well hoping someone will just come with like a, bag of candy and try and help us out, and that would be great. But I do think we're needing to pull our fingers out a little bit. Like, not that we don't do anything, but we should be we've been more proactive the last few weeks, actually. I think the EP made us, but we need to keep that up.
But in terms of actually making music, it's actually this isolation, I think, has kind of benefited because we've managed to get quite a lot done. I mean, it's just like we're just getting loads of kind of demos sorted and stuff, which is quite good. So like just things for, I mean, we're trying to put together music beyond the next EP that we're releasing at, like hopefully in the next few months or so, at least by middle of next year. But beyond that, we've got even more stuff that we're hoping to get done, and that's just all come from being in isolation. And really,
your band had to be remembered for one thing apart from your music. What would you like it to be?
It's a bill.
I think it will be quite good to do something to just improve the scene for up and coming bands. Again, that's probably such a cliched thing that everyone says, but also in terms of like Spotify, kind of all these companies of, it should be the people that you listen to should be getting your money as opposed to people like Drake or whoever's got the most listeners on Spotify. I just think that could be. So if we could do something aside from just producing music, something on kind of like a musical, political level, that would be.
I think that's a really good point, though. Like, I second that, actually. Like, just yeah. If we got to like I don't know 26, 27 and just couldn't do it, then that would be a. If we'd managed to make a few people think it was worthwhile, like I think that would be cool.
Is there any information you want me to put onto the interview, or anything else you want to add to it?
Wait, let's add. Wait. So information to add would be a statement by myself, which is our next single is gonna bang incredibly. That tune
Is that going to be a word-for-word quote?
This tune that Joe sent me, that Sam and Joe have just been working on, because they were meeting up, is just ridiculously good.
It's not going to be our next single though. It will be.
No, I don't know, but it will be one of the next ones.
Everyone to follow the Instagram, that'll be fine. Get the follower.
More shots are coming.
Give us a fault. Yeah, basically, we've got a lot more on the way.
There's more to come.
Oh wait, what about the acoustic?
Oh yeah, the acoustic.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're gonna bring out a acoustic cover, probably this week. So if people want to see that, get on.
That was a good thing to remember.
Get on our Instagram. Also, press follow on Spotify. Like actually follow Spotify rather than just liking songs. Because
follow our playlist of all our favourite songs as well. That's a
yeah, we should.
Oh yeah, we've got a playlist that we regularly update.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this interview.
Yeah, thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again for taking the time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.